Welcome to After the Hype with me, your host, as always, Brian Dressel. With me, as always, Jonathan Hardesty.
Oh, yeah!
CHEWIE Darso.
Don't know why that just happened.
And Ryan James.
Me neither, but I liked it.
Special guest today, we have Michelle Dunn. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, what's up? What's going on?
Oh, you know.
Oh, you know. Everyone have a good week?
Yeah. It was eventful.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
Things happened.
Oh.
And in 2 years, hopefully, we'll get a bunch of people in there that'll be like, fuck you the whole time.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It's funny because it happened. I'm like, oh, I have to try to sound happy on Saturday or my podcast will blow. It's just mental preparing.
I did
4
emerge
days.
from my depression to come on this podcast so I could actually...
Yeah.
I did actually be able to rope the current events into a good joke yesterday when one of our friends was saying that she was stuck behind two women that were being catty on the stairwell. I'm like, just push them over and yell Trump train and run away.
Is that the new thing? That's awesome.
Trump train! Choo-choo!
Because I've legitimately had people at my work chanting
choo-choo
that.
makes it so much
I'm
better.
like, it's a thing.
Oh, God. Oh, boy.
We found our joy.
How do we remove those tracks?
Yeah.
The 4 years of jokes are going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh.
At least there's that.
Yep.
Laughter will be the best medicine.
Maybe Jon Stewart will come out of retirement.
That'd really be the best.
Well,
Yep.
he kind of already did. He just did a bunch of
He
specials.
just doesn't know
Right.
it yet. He's out of
Yeah.
retirement already. He
Right.
doesn't know it.
Yeah. The world needs to laugh,
Just keep
John.
your beard, John, though. I really like it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He looks good
Remember
with a
when
beard.
Jay-Z retired?
No.
Yeah.
Hey, what?
exactly.
Celine Dion.
That one I remember.
Wait,
but
what?
Now she's just a slave to the Las Vegas stage.
Coliseum.
Yep. All right, so before we go down all of those rabbit holes again, Michelle, why don't you tell people where people can find you online if they want to follow you, plug anything you have going on in your life?
Oh, man. Well, let's see. I work on a show called Drunk History.
Never heard of it.
With one of your co-stars.
Yeah. We got to know each other. It was
Yeah,
good.
and we're airing right now, so you can watch us every Tuesday at 10:30 on Comedy Central.
I do mention it quite a few times.
Yeah,
It's really good this season.
yeah.
Now, I say that like it hasn't been in the past seasons, but I don't. It's been very good. I've been enjoying the hell out of it.
And you can find my political ramblings on Twitter and Instagram at OMG Plastic Menus.
Ooh, nice title.
Yeah, I like that.
It's a shout out to my girl Anna Faris in Just Friends.
Oh.
Never saw
Oh,
it.
yes. What a
I was
great
just thinking
movie.
they're really
Yeah.
easy to wipe up if you spill salsa.
Oh
on
my
them.
god, Plastic Menus.
like
I do
that.
get annoyed when I get a paper menu and there's a stain on it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right?
man, this is plastic.
Especially at all nice restaurants have paper menus and then they get gross.
Yeah.
So they can print out
And
new
then
ones
it's
every night for the
embarrassing.
new menu.
They love killing
Yeah.
trees at fancy restaurants.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say really quick for us, you can find us on After the Hype on Facebook, ATH Podcast, everywhere on the internet, ATH_podcast on Twitter. I don't know why I still say those. I don't think any of us have tweeted in a while, but we will start.
I did once. I
sure-
tweeted
Alright.
a picture of Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good
I
enough.
tweet pictures
Using-
of Ryan Gosling too. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me.
That's exactly how he said it, too.
And then coming very soon, athpod.com.
Yep.
I don't have an exact date for that yet, but John keeps telling me
Hurry
soon.
up, John.
Soon. It's
Yeah.
Hurry up.
it's going. It's looking good.
Yeah.
Soon, TM.
We are hoping before the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good stuff. All right, so where have you been doing? Michelle, you want to go first?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been crying a lot.
How about a movie or something you did during the week that was not
I'm
related
sorry.
to
I'm
crime?
sorry.
How about some escape? Can you recommend an
The
escape?
escapism part
Wait,
of
this
the week.
isn't my therapist's office? My escapism this week has been one of my favorite shows on Showtime that I was behind on and then just binge watched to completion this week up to date, which is Shameless.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really great hour-long family comedy drama, makes you feel better about your life show, and Emmy Rossum is awesome, and it's a great show.
And every now and then you can see palm trees in the background when they don't remove it in post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be in Chicago.
Yeah. They film on location some things, but
We have a lot of friends who work on it. Or
Yeah,
have worked on
they
it in
like
Chicago.
do it like for like 2 weeks for each
Right.
season.
Exteriors.
That's the same. They do that with a lot of shows. That's how they used to do ER back in the day. They'd show up like in the beginning for a week. They'd show up in the winter for a week. And they'd just get all their Chicago shit done.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I liked Shameless though. I watched the first season and then for some reason I just never got into season 2.
I'd never seen it until about a year ago, and then I just needed a new show and had always had a want to watch it, and finally got Showtime and was like, all right, great. And then I binge watched 5 seasons in like 2 months, and I have never turned back. So I think it's great.
Cool.
Plug.
Plug.
I don't know anybody that works on it.
I don't
We have a
know.
lot of listeners
I
who do
do.
work on it. So
Great.
It's good.
People in Chicago.
You're welcome.
You're welcome for your employment.
Go Cubs.
Ryan, what about you? Where have you been doing?
Well, I don't know what you told the listeners last week, Brian.
I
but-
said you were dead again.
Yep, I wasn't. I was the undead at BlizzCon. I'm such a nerd. I go to this every year. It's Blizzard's convention. They throw their own 2-day affair. They do, if you don't know the company, they do World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Overwatch, and Hearthstone. And it's so much fun. Everybody's so excited about this one brand there, and it's just like this weekend of like 10,000 people getting together. And they, a few years ago, they had an ad with Ozzy Osbourne running on TV, so they actually booked him to play.
Ghostbusters cameo, Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh yeah, they actually booked him to play the closing ceremony that year, and ever since then they've been trying to up it with big bands. So this year Weird Al played.
Oh, nice.
It was amazing.
That's awesome.
That's
Weird Al for
amazing.
president.
Yeah. Oh my God, he would
I'd
be
vote
good
for him.
Yeah.
I'd vote for him in a second.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, all of his like national addresses
Yeah.
would be songs.
If they were all songs, oh, we live in the best
I'd
country.
actually watch them.
It's quite amazing. He does a lot of costume changes because they kind of dress up to match the video of the song they're performing. And in between, they were rolling all of the pop culture references that have ever been made to Weird Al, like all of his movie cameos, his references on The Simpsons. People were like, "Oh God, Weird Al!" It's really good.
Did they just show the whole of UHF?
A lot of clips from it for sure. Cool.
Okay, so I think Chewie and I might have the same one this week.
I have a different one.
Okay, cool. I went and saw Arrival last night with Amy Adams and
Ooh.
Jeremy Renner and Forrest Whitaker.
I
looked
did
good.
participate in that.
It's directed by, what the fuck is his name? I always forget it.
Denis Villeneuve.
Thank you. It is. I never saw Prisoners for, I don't know why.
You don't need to.
See, I've heard both. I've heard that it's really good and then it's not. But I saw Sicario and I really liked Sicario. I thought it was really
Sicario's
good.
amazing.
I like that one.
I love this director's use of female leads.
Yeah. In this
Then
movie,
don't see Prisoners.
Well, that's male leads.
Okay. But no, this movie, I will keep it short and to the point. It starts out as a very kind of forgettable but quality sci-fi movie, and then as it goes, it really unravels into what is easily one of my favorite movies of the year.
Oh, sweet.
So, like, if you think you're kind of bored in the beginning, still pay attention because it all fucking matters, and it really, really, really,
And
really works.
I didn't consider it boring. I mean, it's slow.
It's slow, but it's not. Like, it's really not slow, but it's just
You have to actually
well-paced.
care about the characters'
Yeah.
emotions. If you don't want to sit there with them, then just leave the movie.
It's very cerebral and sci-fi
Independence
and-
Day resurgent. It is not.
Oh
no,
gosh.
it's not related to Independence Day. Although they do have a conversation with aliens through a glass wall, like in Independence Day, but that's about where the similarities
But
end.
we don't
I know.
have Brett Spiner's butt, so
Nope.
that
no
was the
spider
highlight
butt.
of that movie.
Not many people do.
How sad is it? The highlight of that movie is an old man's butt.
But it's Data's butt.
Fine.
Oh.
So the one thing I will say that was really funny about our viewing experience with the movie was right before the movie starts, a gaggle of very young girls. I want to say
girls.
between 5 or 7. I don't know. They took up a good portion of the row. They all come in just giggling, having a great time. It's like, this seems like a weird movie for you guys, but whatever, no judgments. Have fun.
Maybe they were the random 17-year-olds that are really into hard sci-fi in
Sure,
college.
it's totally
or
possible.
high school.
They all start Snapchatting right in the movie starts. Our friend yells at them to stop, and they did, so there's no problems. But the whole movie goes on. The movie ends, and the second the fucking, like, boom, ending happens, you hear from the middle of all of them, you go, that was so confusing. The entire theater starts laughing at them.
Someone made a fart noise at them.
Amazing.
They just went. I think they collectively understood that the rest of the theater judged them.
Yeah, it was a very bad moment for humanity of group judgment, but at the same time, it was really funny.
Yeah.
So
We could give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe they were joking.
No.
that I could. I don't think so.
You'd have to be a really good actor to pull that off, though.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm sorry. I know the sarcasm of people like us, and then I know we just went into a movie because we like Amy Adams and didn't actually look at what it is at all. Because I'm sure that's what it was.
yeah. And I mean the long and the short of it is it's a great movie and everybody should see it. And it If you're not paying attention, it'll be confusing as fuck. But
I don't think everyone should see it.
I think they should
If
because
you don't,
it's not doing
if you
very well in
don't
the
like
theaters
real
right now.
sci-fi that doesn't involve lightsabers, it's not for you.
I still think everyone should see it because it needs to make money. Because I want this guy to keep.
Oh
making
yeah, I want it to
everything.
make money.
He will. He's making Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's
that's
I
exciting.
hope that'll be good.
All the fanboys
should
just
be good.
collectively gasped.
Yeah, he
So-
should be really good at it.
He should. I just don't know.
And maybe,
he didn't
uh,
need a Blade Runner sequel, but
A
whatever.
well-paced
Whatever.
version. Of
I'll see it as long as Ridley Scott's not sleeping at the wheel. I mean, I'll be excited to see it.
Can we-
Shout
can
out
we-
Ryan Gosling.
John, what about you? Where have you been doing?
So after this collective funk of this week, I started listening to podcasts again because I feel like I could actually engage with media again, and so
Good luck.
yeah. So I listened to this podcast on a suggestion from another one called Bonfireside Chat. It's a Dark Souls podcast, and it's two guys who
I've listened to this.
yeah,
I
and
know
they
exactly what
go,
you're
they
talking
go,
about.
They go into the lore of each section because the game doesn't really give that to you, so you have to kind of extrapolate from
Clearly, you're not reading the item descriptions, bro.
yeah. But they talk about it, and I was like, this is going to be kind of dumb. And I listened to it, and that's all I've been listening to since.
So it is kind of
So, because I mean, once they get to a game I haven't played out of it, I'll probably stop because I have no context for it. But that first game, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember the despair of that section. I remember,
Aw.
like that.
Do you remember?
I do remember.
Aw.
Remembers.
Aw, do you remember?
I
Remember Dark Souls?
But it's a fun. The guys are not obnoxious, and that's high praise.
Cool.
Yeah.
Chewie.
Well, for my where I've been doing, I'm going to go into the past before the implosion.
Wait, did any of us go into the future? Oh. I
But,
see.
like-
I saw Harry Potter.
Nope. Nobody went into the future this week.
Saturday,
11-9.
before everything got dark and dreary, we saw Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah.
And I forgot the title for a
Oh
second
my
there.
God! How did Trump made me forget Doctor Strange?
Me too.
See, it's already happening.
Wow.
It's like we were all born on November.
Did you all not remember?
But we saw Doctor Strange, and I know Ryan has very high praise for it. Maybe not as high as me, but I still really enjoyed
Wow,
it.
not as high as
Wait,
you?
what?
Wait, huh?
Yeah, he has higher than you, or
Well, he's saying that it's one of his all-time favorite Marvel films, and I'm still
I mean,
deciding.
it's 5 out of 12 right now on my list.
But I really liked, specifically on my biases, that when they were doing his learning how to be him scene, they actually paced it well and made it like a transitional period. They didn't just do a song with a montage,
Right.
which is what they did in every other Marvel movie. So I really appreciate that they broke form with that because I got really exhausted with all the Marvel origin stories. Benedict did a great job. He's perfect for the role, but everyone knew he was going to be perfect for the role.
he's kind of perfect for every role he's cast in. Usually, I mean, I haven't seen all of them.
I haven't seen all of his movies, but and
what I've
the
seen.
costume design.
Zoolander 2 shout out. Anyone?
I haven't
Didn't
seen
see that one.
Oh.
But
We may have found the one.
particularly, I really enjoyed the costume design. I know it was the
Absolutely.
same costume designer as the other ones because I recognized the like weaving of the chest fabrics, the same they used on like Loki and such. But it really shined in this movie. And then afterwards, I was just so like, I just want to look at Benedict some more. Like, I really like looking at him. So then I rewatched all of Sherlock, and finally finished that because we didn't watch the last episode of the third
Still
season.
haven't watched it.
And it's actually quite good. You should just go and watch it, honey.
I've heard that for years now.
We just did it. I don't know. It's really stupid. We liked the show, but it took us. Well, I just finally watched it, and Brian still hasn't.
I hated the first episode of season 3 so much. It really made the rest of the season kind of I don't care. A whole episode on he's back. I'm like, dude, you only get 3 of these things. Don't waste a whole episode on this. But whatever.
But yeah.
Argument for a
Whatevs.
different day.
So that was my where I've been doing, and go see Doctor Strange and Arrival. They're very different.
basically the same movie. One or the other. You'll get them both.
People definitely did go see Doctor Strange. It's doing.
They
Quite
still
well.
It
are.
made so much
Yeah.
money.
I want to see it in IMAX. I didn't. I just saw it in regular old 2D.
Yeah, I've heard that the IMAX 3D is something to see.
Is all of the welding effects look extra weldy and sparky?
I hope the sparks
I don't
comes
know.
right at you.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about Ghostbusters
Yeah.
What
and the
movie?
3D in that because
What's that?
fucking hell, they do my biggest pet peeve in the world.
The three. What are
In
we talking
home
about
video
it now?
3D. But no. So today's movie is on Ghostbusters, the 2016 controversy. It is a pretty divided film.
It is a film.
It was shot and had people in it, and people got really mad about it because those people were ladies.
People
and
got
apparently
really-
that makes it a hell-worthy trespass.
They got mad like the moment they heard a female name listed. Like they didn't even finish the entire cast, and everyone was like, blah, blah, blah.
Well, no, it happened back with Amy
heard that
Pascal.
sound effect, too.
So when Amy Pascal was like, we're going to make it all female Ghostbusters.
Right.
Everyone collectively went, whoa, the world is ending. And it's like, okay, calm down.
Vaginas
Let's let them give it a shot.
everywhere.
We need to elect a president that'll put an end to this.
End of vaginas. Wait a minute.
This is all too real.
You think we're joking? We're laughing because we're crying
Yeah,
inside.
it's just spot on. But anyhow, so they spent a fuckload on it. One fuckload. It was $144 million.
Oh.
It made $229 at a net loss, according to many sites, of about $70 million, which might have effectively killed the franchise.
Yeah.
Which we still have this one.
I'm not expecting a sequel, which I'm sad about.
No, if it happens, I will be very surprised.
There's still comic books.
There are comic books, and
Do they do a comic book line with the girls?
I think they do have female Ghostbusters. I don't know, not with these particular characters.
No.
And they are in Lego Dimensions.
Lego Dimensions.
If you want to pick up Lego Dimensions.
No.
Ghostbusters Legos.
Yep. They do exist in various formats, but the idea of a sequel, probably not going to happen. But before we get too far into it, I think it's time for a breakdown. Michelle, you ready for this?
Yeah, I had an emotional breakdown. I can talk about it.
Okay, so you're going to get 30 seconds to say everything that happens in the movie.
Oh.
This is the best time to find out how in detail people read my emails. Oh, yeah, no, I read it. I just don't remember that paragraph.
The double whammy
I just
is
saw that you provided coffee and I showed up.
me too. 50 episodes ago.
Can I swear?
Yeah. I swear with
yeah.
fuck yes.
Everyone can swear on this podcast. It's encouraged.
Ready? Go, 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 go.
Okay, so there's this lady and she wrote a book about ghosts with her best friend when they were little and she lost her tenure and she's like, bitch, please, why did you do that? Why did you release our book? And so she's like, no, there's ghosts are real. Ghosts are real. Then they meet this other friend and they go and they solve a ghost crime and ghost things happen and they capture them and they're all ladies and then they meet Leslie Jones and Leslie Jones cusses a lot and then she drives a hearse and they catch more ghosts at a rock show and Ozzy Osbourne shows up and it's really, really, really weird and the bad guy is like a
you're out of
mean
time.
bellhop. The end.
It's really close, for sure. That's like, it's your call.
I gotta say you got it. I mean, you got the mean bellhop in at the end. I
Yeah.
mean,
But she left out a very important character.
she didn't leave out Chris Hemsworth,
Yeah.
which is it's very sad. But I mean, he is very unimportant to the plot. He's really just there to be a beefcake.
Man candy.
Yeah.
He does it so well.
He is a great beefcake. All right, I'll say that was a success. You get one free shot to hurt my feelings.
I think you're great, Brian. I don't need to
I
insult
love
you.
this. Every week I get the same answer, except for I've gotten.
Yeah. Did someone early insult you?
I've gotten a couple. My favorite one so far was it looks like a comic book store threw up on you.
That was a really good one.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break into this thing. I feel like the best place to actually start will be talking a little bit about that buzz and controversy and anger and people not wanting to see this just because there's ladies in it. But yeah, Ryan, were you on the hate train when you heard about it?
Yeah, Brian. I was hating on it ever since Melissa McCarthy was announced because she always sounds like this.
I don't disagree with you. I'm not a fan of Melissa McCarthy.
sound quite like that.
I didn't. I know my impressions are really bad. We're really lucky that didn't come out Russian sounding.
That's true.
Boris
Whenever
from,
I do a thing, it
Rocky
starts
Bullwinkle.
becoming Russian.
There's only one dumpling in this?
Yeah, there you go. Nailed it. That's exactly
Wonton.
why I hated that movie.
Oh.
Dumpling just sounds dumber, so it's perfect. I'm down with an all-female Ghostbusters movie, and I actually have been saying for years that the ladies are killing it on SNL. So luckily they got what's her name?
Kate McKinnon?
Kate McKinnon and Cecily Strong in this movie.
And Leslie Jones.
And well, Leslie Jones is not as funny as those two people to me. And
They also
then,
gave her nothing to do, so
She had good parts.
So
did, but-
I was excited when they were announced because I thought the girls have been great, but I really don't like Melissa McCarthy, and I don't know if Kristen Wiig had a proper role in this movie.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
But hype-wise, John, how about you? Were you super into this when you heard the idea? Were you excited for it, or were you just more like, man, nope?
before I started reading the back and forth on it and getting into the hype actually online, I was actually intrigued and interested. It's like, oh, taking something, you're going to remake it, but then you're going to do something different with it. I mean, it's something I've said, do it. You know, like I want people to do that with remakes. And so someone's doing it. I was actually kind of excited about it.
Yeah, I was kind of right there with you. It was it's like how many fucking like RoboCop remakes do we need? Where it's like, okay,
It's
you're
the
just gonna do the
same
exact
movie.
same thing,
Right.
a little bit different. And
But
I like
a
that
little bit worse.
they're gonna go about this one like, okay, we're gonna remake it, but we're gonna make it its own thing. And I thought it was a cool idea.
Because it's a simple formula. Like you add something like that element to it, an all-female cast, you're going to get a different result. And it's going to be interesting either way. So I was excited on that front alone.
Yeah. Chewie, what about you? Now that we've heard from the men. Just gonna keep this real sexist all day.
Yeah, we get to go last.
It's true.
And
but
you're going to get
that means
to
we
say
have the
less.
last say.
All right, thanks for your input. Anyhow.
Trump train.
Choo-choo.
Oh,
The choo-choo's
Your-
getting sadder
Your
every
nickname
time.
has been ruined forever.
oh no. But so I had very mixed feelings when this movie was first announced. One, I really enjoy Ghostbusters. Two, I'm a feminist. But then,
Then I saw the movie.
well, no, it got better then.
Ghostbusters and feminism.
I don't like gimmicks really too much, and I also don't like being pandered to heavily, because feminism, it's not feminism when you're like forcing the issue, kind of like
I see what
it's
you
like
mean.
affirmative action feminism. Not down with it.
Right.
I'm just not. I want people to earn
fashion
things and
feminism.
deserve it. I don't want to just be like handed it and be told, so you're happy now, right? Like that's not what I'm going to enjoy. So I had a lot of mixed feelings. And I remember when we did the previous podcast about the original Ghostbusters, and then we all asked ourselves collectively, what do you want from this movie? And what I said is that I wanted a movie about women working together and being smart and not being, and I don't want it to be sexist. I don't want them to have stupid fights over men. Like, I don't want any of the general tropes that they put into these movies and then say, you liked that, right? I'm like, no, because you made them all idiots. Yep. So then when I did get to see this movie, I loved it. Because they're not idiots. They do silly things. Kristen Wiig does want to bang Chris Hemsworth, but who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
And I think it's like one of the few times or the first time I've seen someone so outwardly lust after a dude. A female is able to lust after a guy.
Yeah,
On
and-
screen in a kind of pervy way, but not
In a fun way.
in a fun way. Like
and
the,
innocent, whatever. But
Yeah.
and
And
they
make it-
never
yeah.
had any of the, like the stupid fights that they have women fight about, like about them fighting over Chris Hemsworth or fighting over who's in charge or fighting over their outfits or whatever. Like all the stupid shit that they usually make women get all catty and like things about. The women in this movie just worked together the whole time and really supported each other. And to me, then this is a winner. Like it's a movie that we never get to see. But whether or not the writing was as strong as we all wanted it to be, whether or not all the jokes landed, to me that all gets negated in the moment of I got a movie with women being smart together, and we never get that.
Okay.
That's really sad to hear
Yeah, it really is. It's
because the movie should have been better.
It would have been nice if it was perfect in every
Yeah.
way, but
this was really to taking it with a grain of salt. you get really what you want in a package.
Yeah.
Michelle, what about you?
I guess the best analogy that I found for the idea of creating a lady Ghostbusters is if your daughter was playing with G.I. Joe and then you take that away and hand her a Barbie and say, this is your treat. This is your version of a doll, when instead you should be handing her a female G.I. Joe. So that's kind of the feeling that I had towards it, where it's like, yes, it's pandering. Yes, it's, like a different version of the movie, but my biggest takeaway when I walked out of the theater seeing this movie is they could have cast all men and it would have been the same movie.
Yeah, the female
That's actually
aspect,
one of the things I liked about it.
Oh no.
I don't know, because there's so many, because that's where
I just don't
there's
think
no
that
cattiness.
Yeah,
I can't I
that's
keep
true.
harping on that.
Yeah.
Because usually when they put women in there, they feel they need to put in the cattiness.
That's true, but you have to also acknowledge, like, if they changed all the names to male names and handed that script to male actors, they could have made the movie as is. And what makes it different is that they weren't female roles. Like, those women weren't playing real, like, 3D women.
No,
they
they're
were
all
just
playing Venkman.
Yeah, they were all playing a version of Venkman.
No, I understand. That's so true.
Yeah.
Like,
So that was my qualm about it being like, we're doing female Ghostbusters. It's like, great, then go balls deep into female Ghostbusters and fucking
That's the sentence of the episode.
Holtzman is really the only character that truly had her own voice.
She had her own persona, but I don't think that she was a character.
Yeah.
She didn't
Yeah.
have any sort of backstory
Just a
or
walking
motivation
punchline, kind
or
of.
anything. Yeah, she was just a one-hit wonder. to
She
me.
was her character was created in the edit, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of Kate McKinnon
Yeah.
facial structure.
But she's great. Oh my god.
She's great, but like at the same time, like they didn't plan much for you. Just like kind of go off for like 10 hours, and
Well,
we'll edit it down.
Okay, so saying that, I think you launch in what I think is what I really want to talk about the most today, which is the lack thereof for script.
Right.
Because like Michelle was saying, nobody really had a character, nobody really had anything. It really came down to what Paul Feig has gotten known for, kind of like Judd Apatow, which is he puts people in a room who are very funny and goes, "Be funny," and then he just hits record.
It gets tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it means that they're just riffing, and without real direction, you end up with a bunch of people spouting jokes at each other, and you don't really know if they land until they hit the edit, and these didn't.
And every comedian wants to be the main jokester. So when you get a bunch of comedians in there and you don't curate that, everyone's going to compete. And when everyone's competing, they kind of...
Well, that has to do with the directing too, though, because you can like in the original Ghostbusters, they were all comedians,
yeah.
but they didn't overlap each other too harshly.
But they were given characters.
Yeah, they were
so
given
they played
characters.
those
They were
characters,
given a
where, like
strong
what
script.
Michelle said, nobody was given a character. They're given like, all right, you're quirky like this, and you're quirky like this. So they just made jokes like that. They're professionals. They're good at what they do. But it's still, since nobody really had like, it felt like nobody was developed in a way where they could actually use that in a way to make the comedy and story work.
And one of the things that I feel like they had the opportunity to do that is grounding that main female friendship between Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig. And what I would have loved this movie to start out with, instead of that big opening haunted house sequence, is seeing them as kids. That story she tells in the middle of the movie where she's like, I was made fun of, I was called Ghost Girl, and she was the only one there for me, and we developed this together. I would have loved that prologue as like the grounding of these women as a friendship, and them and you never find out why they kind of separated and weren't friends anymore. And
no, it's
so-
really just kind of, you have to read into it and assume like,
Yeah.
oh, she took the
and
better college
and
job.
I feel like that would have grounded the movie a lot more in being a female version of Ghostbusters.
That sounds
because,
fantastic.
Because yeah, well, I mean, just the sense that like women have a bond, they have a friendship that can overcome a lot of things, and they're always complicated. And I think Paul Feig has actually done a really good job with complicated female friendships before in Bridesmaids and in Heat, even the Heat.
I didn't see it.
The Heat.
I think it's called The Heat. 'Cause Heat is something else, right?
Yeah.
It's Al Pacino, isn't it?
Yeah. I was gonna say, how old is
The Heat. Yeah. But I just feel like if they grounded that friendship as the crux of the arc of this movie, it would have worked a lot better than just being like. But I can also see the studio being like, we want a haunted house to start.
Yeah, and I mean, the problem is that, at least I don't think this way, but there are a lot of people that I've talked to about this movie who say that the major issue with that haunted house opening is that it is the funniest part in the whole movie. Is just watching, what's his name, Zach Woods? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, watching him just be funny, because he's good at that kind of awkward host funny
Yeah,
thing.
but it's like my I don't know, have you guys covered Trainwreck?
No. I'm not
Invite me back. I have lots of thoughts. But quick, briefly, is I felt like every scene in that movie, every opportunity that was the funniest scene in the movie was just Amy Schumer doing stand up.
Yeah.
It was just like, this has nothing to do with the movie, but it's going to be my like 10 minutes to like do a bit. And that's what Zach Woods was there for. And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
when I walked out of that movie, I said that two of the funniest things in that movie were the men.
It's so
Chris
sad.
Hemsworth was so funny in this movie, and he was the funniest part to me, and the most enjoyable and the most off-brand like casting and you know how he played it. And I was like, you can't walk out of Lady Ghostbusters and say the best part was the guy.
Yeah, and it
That's
says. I
true.
mean, Chris Hemsworth is a really like untapped resource for comedy. Between this
yeah.
and Vacation, like fuck, he's funny.
His
Yeah.
prettiness does hold him back from that.
The fact that he's willing to like be the joke though because of his looks makes
Yeah.
it even that much funnier.
He fully embraces it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of really hunky male actors
Yeah.
who wouldn't do it, and
Just name all the Chris's: Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, Chris Pine. They're all actually innately have a lot of good comedy chops.
yeah.
That can come out in their various like big blockbustery kind of personas, and I think Hemsworth is no different.
And I think off of what you said, the editing favored the male jokesters the most in this movie.
Oh,
The men get to make the best jokes. The camera stays on them the longest, and the most choppy editing happens when the women are together.
Now the problem is, and I'll say this again, it's more. I don't blame like the women. I blame again Paul Feig not reining in the riffing, because it's just he lets them riff and then he pulls out, or the editor pulls out what he thinks is the funniest, and then it just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
With
So
the editing, they all feel like little quibs.
yeah,
Like, it's-
so when I don't think I mean I don't know, I wasn't there, but I don't think that Chris Hemsworth is riffing. I think he's doing what was written and he's playing it and it's funny and it works.
Well, my prepared one-line favorites are all Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, but I think that comes from it comes from having a quality written character, or at least he's not quality character, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I fully realized in
Yeah,
what he needs
so-
to be.
So
Well,
he's
and
not
it's an-
wasting time trying to make it his own thing. He's just playing what he was told to play.
And it's an off-brand male character.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if my theory is correct and you flipped all this with this version of this movie and you made the 4 leads male and you made that a female character, she'd be like the dumb blonde who can't answer the phone.
Yep.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that is exactly. He is the blonde
is a
bimbo.
dumb blonde.
He's
Yeah.
the dumb blonde who can't answer the phone.
He's so good.
Which one makes me look more like a doctor? When I'm playing the sax or
The phone's in the
listening?
fish tank.
Or listening to the saxophone. It's just holding it to his head.
Or it's too loud, I'm going to cover my eyes. I laughed the most out loud for him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that's the sin against Ghostbusters as a female
It's a
cast.
large sin.
Well, when
Yeah.
I watched when it came out, the Kate McKinnon like mashup of all of her improv lines, and I was watching that, I'm like, oh my god, that's literally every scene she has in the movie is made up of just improv, and there was no connection. There's like, you know, the original Ghostbusters had written jokes that built up a storyline, like Egon being the nerd, and I collect spores, molds, and fungus, you know, and the building on the dancing ooze stuff, and you know, they just like actually built a story.
The other interesting thing to me is I saw the movie in theaters, but then in preparing for this podcast, I rented it on iTunes, and it's the extended version.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Oh.
Yeah, I
don't
watched
know
the
if I did or
extended
not.
version.
So
everything they cut out deserved to get cut
everything
out.
but did you find a theme in all the extended sequences, which was the ladies in a dance sequence?
They weren't all dance sequences.
There were
A lot of
a
words.
lot more. And
the only one I remember is their presentation.
the presentation.
What was the other dance sequence?
Well, I mean, the whole end of Chris Hemsworth leading the like weird ghost.
I was
zombie
actually really looking
thing.
forward to that because I saw that in the credits and went, "That's in the movie, isn't it? Like, where is it in the movie?"
I don't think any move like. Did the original Ghostbusters have any dance
No.
sequences?
The toaster. That's what
No.
I'm saying.
That's
The,
the second
the
one.
Ray
Yeah,
Parker-
Toaster does dance.
The Ray Parker
I-
Jr. music video had them all dancing at the end. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's
And
no
the
dance
Statue
in
of
the
Liberty
original.
kind of dances down the street.
That's in the
yeah.
second
If
one.
it's something that's pandering to females, I would say stop. Don't put dance sequences in just because we're women.
Yeah.
But here we're taking a huge dump on this movie right now, and Chewie actually really likes it. So tell me what worked for out of everything that we're slamming the hell out of this thing. What worked for you? What did you like beyond just the fact that it was just female characters who were smart together? Like, did the film itself, story wise, stuff like that, like what worked?
I thought the world was rather realized.
Mm-hmm.
I do liked the use of the ooze. I mean, it's green in this instead of pink.
The pink stuff looked like Pepto-Bismol. Coming to kill you.
Yeah.
Well, the pink stuff always made me think of the Blob.
Yeah,
But,
I can see that too.
Mostly of it, it's just like I love the character design. I love all the actresses. Kristen Wiig, honestly, I do feel like they could just take her out of the movie and it wouldn't really affect much, which is sad because she's supposed to be like our entry point.
Yeah.
So the thing is, yes, they're all caricatures, and I would have enjoyed them to be more fleshed out, but I still enjoyed watching their caricatures. Melissa McCarthy and how like she needs to get reeled in sometimes, kind of like when we watched Spy, and sometimes it just wouldn't stop. It didn't feel as bad in this film. Like, I feel like they did realize sometimes where the riffing was getting a little too extreme.
I feel like
But
she was
that
the
was
only
also-
one trying to hold back.
Yeah.
Well, and the only thing I will say that I really like about Melissa McCarthy and what she does with her characters is she is an active participant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of other women are, sidelined, they're one-liners, they have a joke here and there, but like she drives the motivation of the story, and that you have to give her credit for that because she does it in all of her films. She does it in Bridesmaids, she does it in Spy, she does it in The Heat, she does it here. And I feel like she's kind of the only thing that holds them all together. So I would give her a lot of credit for
Yeah,
that.
she definitely is the reason that the Ghostbusters exist.
Yeah.
Holtzman would have just been wandered off doing weird mad science
She
stuff.
even says that at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, until she met Melissa McCarthy, she was doing nothing.
Yeah.
Which is why I wish that they grounded that friendship more. That would have reeled them in and used Melissa McCarthy's motivation to like push the story forward.
It would have made her scene where Melissa McCarthy goes against the Ghostbusters a little bit more, oomph, like ouch, like if they were all kind of
The other thing
bonded
that was
together.
a
from
little
her.
tough for me to swallow was using Leslie Jones as like a, hey, I'm here too, or like I want to participate. Whereas I almost feel like they should have recruited her like they did with Ernie Hudson.
Well,
Yeah,
Ernie Hudson was in it just for a job. Like,
Well, yeah, but it should have been similar. Like, I
Yeah.
agree that it's because she just shows up. She's like, "Oh, it's a club, right?" And it's like,
Yeah.
I
'Cause
did
Ernie
always
Hudson-
question why she was always willing to just give up her job so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, are they paying you?
Well, and that's a big thing about having motivation to stay in the story, and she didn't have that. And at least with Ernie Hudson, he was a non-believer,
Yeah.
and he was there for the money. And then he had an arc as a character, therefore, where he became a believer. And I think that Leslie Jones being like, "I saw some ghosts, let me join," is just like not really enough to like hold her in.
I do-
and that disservices her as an actor and as a character.
I do wonder whether or not, since they tried so hard to make them like strong female characters, quote unquote, then they were afraid to make like touching moments.
Yeah.
That they realized they couldn't do cattiness, but then they were afraid to do like gentle moments because they didn't want to go down the chick flick route, which is what a lot of people were worried about.
yeah. But I honestly like you can do chick flick smart, and this one should have done. That.
Yeah, it should have done it. But I know you asked me to talk about the things I liked,
Yeah, I know.
and I have talked about the things I liked.
But it's a very short list.
Well,
I mean, yeah, but
to riff off of your
honestly, it comes down to what I said about seeing some representation that I never get to see. And
Which
it's such
I
a beautiful
totally
moment.
understand
And
that.
it comes to a head when you see them fight. Like, I'm going to get a little teary-eyed here because I ever do. I get teary-eyed when I see it in the movie. And when Kate McKinnon just says, "Oh, I forgot about my new toys," she pulls out her little gun, she gives it a lick, and then she has one of the most fantastic moments in all of cinema for a woman kicking ass.
she just
Like,
kicked
that
ass.
moment wins for
I
me.
watched
It
that
wins
scene,
in
I'm
my
like,
heart.
oh.
It wins in my mind. It wins. It's a level of pure joy.
I watched it like 4 times.
Yeah.
I watched.
last
I'm
night.
like, "Oh, you should have been Captain Marvel."
Oh, yeah.
You were.
Oh, I'd be
kick-ass.
so good with her doing that.
Yeah.
Because like I got into so many fights with so many of my friends about this, about strong female action sequences, and no one was able to show me one that had absolutely nothing to do with sexualization or a man. And everyone kept hyping on like Ripley. I'm like, yes, I really like Ripley, but she still had a love interest in Aliens and a maternal instinct towards the young girl. And
she's in
at
her
the
underwear
end,
at the end of
at the
yeah.
end of Alien, she's in her little skivvy underwear. She might as well be
Right.
naked. I'm like, I'm sorry. There's literally no other thing that I can think of where a woman is genuinely not sexualized and not reduced to some sort of love interest or maternal need. Like, this is just her fighting for herself and her friends.
Kind of just Serenity is the only thing I can come up with.
Even then, there's a little bit of a gaze on River, and
Yeah.
like
Oh, from the men, yes, but not from her to the
I think
men.
from Whedon as well. Like for as progressive as it is, there's still some trappings that it's just
Yeah.
you're kind of stuck in. Whereas this felt different.
And
When I saw
River,
the scene, I felt-
River is still covered in sweat and grease in a skimpy little dress.
yeah.
All right, fair.
Yeah, and like my only other one would have been like Mila Jovovich in really any of her action movies, but she's still fucking Mila
It's male
Jovovich.
gaze.
Yeah,
Like I love Mila Jovovich, but
Yeah.
they still use her for the male gaze all the time. There's no male gaze on Kate McKinnon in that sequence.
No. I mean, you could argue the whole phallic licking the gun thing,
Sure.
but I don't think
That was weird. That
That's
didn't do anything
just a
for me.
person loving their toy.
Yeah, that's I didn't take it as the
But even that
phallus.
was like a subversion too. So like you're not feeling like, ooh, that's awesome. Like that's sexy.
That
like,
was
that's
her
like,
licking her own dick.
That's
yeah,
and
that's
it
what
wasn't
I-
for you,
Yeah.
it was for her.
yeah,
that's-
no.
But I could see it being spun the wrong way. But I
Right.
agree with you. I don't think that was for like the blowjobs. It was just like, oh wow, she's just really into herself.
Yeah.
Like they didn't unzip her body suit like they do for Black Widow all the time to
Right.
show her
Yep.
cleavage, which makes no sense.
It's tactical
Like-
cleavage.
Sure.
It works though. Let me tell you.
It distracts the bad guys.
Yeah. That's why they're bad guys.
So it's yes, I know everything that's bad with this film, but I will still love it for these reasons.
I can't argue, especially like I was gonna say so the thing when I'm watching this movie, I've seen it now twice. I don't know how many more times I'll watch it, if any. But it's funny because I like to think about movies because they are written like this, but like in 3-act structures. And if you're looking at this one, acts 1 and 2 are kind of a mess. They don't really make a lot of sense. There's really no story to say. It's just kind of all over the place. It's a big collection of riffing in a Chinese restaurant tied together with mediocre sequences, and it's just not that great. And then Act 3, they figure their shit out. It's suddenly really funny. All the characters feel like they have a place in the movie. It feels like a party celebrating Ghostbusters and this movie, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And if they had somehow captured that energy and joy throughout the whole movie, I feel like everyone would have a very different opinion of this, even if it was still the same problem with the characters of they're not the fully realized female characters that they should be. If they still had that level of fun and respect for the material, I think the movie would have been received a lot better.
Yeah, it kind of got caught up in being an origin story.
Yeah, absolutely. And it didn't need
It got
to be.
caught up in origin story and then trying to have little wink wink moments.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the cameos?
I mean,
Yeah,
I feel
let's
like
do
we
it.
should.
Before we talk about the cameo, my least favorite part of this whole movie is when they do the logo in the subway. And like
I kind of like that.
I like the guy playing the graffiti artist when he's looking at Leslie Jones going, "I'm sorry." Like he just keeps painting and then he leaves and says, "I love you." Like that's cute. But the whole like needing to do that is really weird. Like we
yeah,
didn't
the
need
origin of a logo is kind of
Right.
weird.
There
Yeah.
were
I think-
a lot of wings.
like there's too many winks.
I think that wink wouldn't have been as bad as if the other winks weren't there.
Yeah, that's true.
True. I
But
agree.
I like that. I accepted that more than I accepted them going to the firehouse for the first time.
Actually,
It has my favorite line in there though.
Yeah, that line is so
it's
good.
$21,000 a month. Go to hell. I mean, what?
Burn in
What the
hell.
fuck?
Burn in hell.
You know, in the extended edition, it's like she says, "What the fuck."
Oh, burn in hell's better.
Yeah, because it's so immediate. And it's
Yeah.
probably the best timing that Kristen Wiig had. in
Yeah.
this.
But if they had ended the movie in the firehouse, I think it would have been better. But it's still, like you said, it's just another wink. Like the whole movie is winks and nods and cameos, which we should talk about.
Well, I think there's a lot of irony in the fact that when they proposed this movie, as we were talking before, this is our version of it, and therefore don't fucking service the fanboys.
Yeah.
Who aren't going to see this movie anyway.
Well,
Yeah.
they're gonna hate watch this movie,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then
yeah.
when they see all the references of the first one, they're gonna be like, "This is such a cop out."
Yeah.
Like, come on. And it's like, I understand servicing like the legacy of those actors and that kind of thing, but you could do it a whole different way.
And Bill
Honestly,
Murray-
if they'd only done the bust of Ramis and that'd been the only one in the whole movie, it would have been fine. But yeah, the Bill Murray scene
Bill
was way
Murray
over
was
the
the
top.
worst.
Yeah,
Dan Aykroyd's was pretty good, I
I
thought.
thought that was okay.
I thought his was okay.
And then again, Ernie
just
Hudson
got
gets shoehorned
exhausting.
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
poor Ernie
they got
Hudson.
exhausting.
I agree. Like the Annie Potts one was just so.
What do you
Oh,
want?
I liked that one.
I felt that one was too forced.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
I
they
would've
were all
been.
forced.
Yeah.
I tried when I was watching it over again. I tried to think of it from like an Earth 2 perspective, from
Okay.
in the Speed Force and stuff from Flash.
Yep.
That this is just an alternate universe, and that's why there's so many wink and nods, because it's the similarities. They're just in a different
Sure.
world, and at some point they're all going to work
You were
together.
giving this movie way too much credit.
That is a heavy analysis.
I'm just trying to make it make sense, guys.
Did any of the cameos work for anybody? Was there any? I mean, you liked Amy Potts,
And Dan Aykroyd.
I liked Dan Aykroyd.
I like the ghost on the wall in the
Dan-
subway.
Yeah.
You did like that scene.
I didn't like any of the cameos.
I didn't like any of the cameos, and I would say that if you were gonna nod to the first one, that was the best, most realized, and interesting scene.
And it matched the kind of the silliness that they were going for. Like, of course, you would get the logo from the subway and it would wink to the movie because it's kind of silly. That's a silly way to do it.
And
that
it's a
would fit
silly
the
image.
thesis.
It's
Yeah.
a silly image.
Yeah.
So
And it pays off from Chris Hemsworth joke version of the logo, which
I can make the boobs bigger.
But
that was again one of the best sequences
Why
in
is
the
there
movie.
why is there a hot dog?
Yeah.
Because the ghost is holding it.
How is he the funniest character in this movie?
really funny.
ow. Ow.
Damn you, Chris Hemsworth.
He does have my favorite quote.
A different actor wouldn't to be able to deliver those things so well.
No. I'm on board for Chris Hemsworth's comedy career. Like he needs to stop doing the serious wailing movies and just do comedy, and he'll be doing
Yeah.
great.
Just get him and Channing Tatum into a movie together where they just don't wear shirts.
The charm is overwhelming.
That could be the name of the movie.
Let's actually
Chewie
move
would be
into-
Snapchatting with all her girlfriends in the room.
It's so confusing, but I love it.
It
Yeah.
would be hard to be confused by this movie. But let's move into some
talking about
some
the
other
Chris
things about
Hemsworth.
movies. Like, what did you guys think of the special effects?
Sorry.
I liked how shiny they were.
I like.
They were really bright and colorful.
did
It was
too,
very
actually.
cartoony.
I
not
loved
joking.
that it made me. It took me back to the cartoon.
Yeah,
It was
It-
very
it-
cartoony.
It as a kid you play with like these,
Oh,
like,
Kate McKinnon is Egon
Yeah.
from the cartoon.
Yeah, no,
the
it took
design
me-
is 100%.
it was finally realized in a way that special effects in the 80s couldn't do. And it was like the Ghostbusters was always about neon green, bright neon colors, and they got that with the ghost. Like even the blue was like, these are the ghosts I envisioned for Ghostbusters. This is what I kind of projected onto those movies and to the cartoons.
The biggest difference for me was that when you were watching the originals and they used their guns on the ghosts and they got the ghosts in the sling or whatnot, like it felt tangible. Like you felt like they were actually grabbing onto something.
Yeah.
Which you didn't get in this movie.
Exactly,
And
yeah,
they
'cause-
didn't really, and yes, they didn't. They used them like this weird, like, gun whip in this movie that,
Yeah, that was
didn't really
weird.
quite make as much sense.
It made
It was
sense
fun
for,
to watch,
for
but
Kate McKinnon's two things. That one made sense because the way she used it, but the actual proton pack shooters, they felt weird.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it, especially like the first, like the flaccid, like "Brrr." It's kind of funny, but it's like
I still laugh
I
at that.
actually-
scene,
I-
though.
I
That's
don't-
exactly when my boner went down. Too.
however much that's, like, I like that outfit for Holtzman in that entire sequence because I chose to do that for Halloween, but that sequence, with the first time they're using it, I didn't like it.
yeah.
Like, watching her fly around with the proton pack, I'm like,
That was weird.
this is a sequence that is lasting too long.
Yeah,
That too.
And that was not even the extended cut. The original is just like, all right, we get it. We get
That
still
one didn't
got
get
it.
longer during the extended cut.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, to the extended cut, just to ramble it off really fast. The things that was in the extended cut that they got rid of. Kristen Wiig kind of has a boyfriend, but not really.
Oh god. Which becomes really
who plays the boyfriend?
I don't
Yeah.
no name that I don't.
some guy.
I'm sure
Some
you-
guy.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting about that, because I was like, did I not remember him from the first?
No, he just wasn't in the first one.
Yeah, they cut him out completely. But what was interesting in the extended cut with him in is that his only two lines to her are about her outfit. In the beginning of that, oh, you're wearing that, and like, oh, you're wearing that.
boy.
And then he disappears, and then she hits on Chris Hemsworth, and then he comes back so she can break up with him, and then he disappears again.
Yeah, he was so like unnecessary in every way. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was
I
the only
understand where
time when
he's
you had
cut,
like a
but-
stupid male joke happening that they probably realized that this is so out of place in this movie. And then there was a sequence when it's actually it was touching. It was like actually one of the moments where the girls are sitting down and like having a real moment together. But then it led into like the weird dance sequence of their presentation from college. Was it college or high school?
I don't remember.
But they were doing one of their paranormal things before they wrote their book, and they had this whole like prose about don't destroy the barrier, and they were dancing and had a whole choreography thing. And I'm like, it was cute for like to see them bond, but also did nothing for the movie, so that's why they cut that out.
It seems like they made the right choice.
And when Melissa McCarthy's getting possessed by the janitor guy, there's an entire sequence of her literally oozing ooze out of every orifice in the bathroom,
Lovely.
Oh.
and they got rid of that.
Every orifice?
Well, and
Yeah.
her like her
Every
ears,
crack.
her nose, her mouth, there's like green coming in.
It's like what Donald Trump when he sees Megyn Kelly thinks.
Oh, got it. Okay. Perfect visual. All right, so the only other thing that we did not hit on to this thing that I think really needs to be mentioned is how about that Fall Out Boy song, right?
I was gonna say the
Dude,
score because the whole score is
that
good
was
except
terrible.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
terrible.
What's weird is that
Something strange.
what's weird is that at the
No.
very end of the movie, you have the best cover of the Ghostbusters theme song at the very, very, very end of the credits.
Which one was it?
I forget who the band is, but it's like an all-lady band. And it's like
Yeah,
a,
how do you not
Was
have
that-
a female band
and
do
their
the
their
damn
their
song?
version of the song is amazing.
Was that the ones from Japan? Because I know that there's a
They did a
band.
really good job.
Yeah.
But they sung in Japanese, so it wasn't that.
No.
And then Elle King did a song for the soundtrack, and she did a good job. I really like that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how do you remake one? Fall Out Boy is totally irrelevant to everyone.
No one gives a fuck anymore.
And two, how do you do female Ghostbusters and not just make
It
that a
had to have
female
been
anthem?
some sort of deal with like who they like.
Sony just had to look like,
Yeah.
what bands
What
do we
bands
own?
do we own in
Fuck, we
Sony
own
and have
nobody.
licensing deals
There
we
were,
can do?
I actually made a list while I was watching that. There is a lot of product placement that's real gross and like overt.
Oh, I didn't notice it so
Oh,
much.
I made a
Yeah.
list.
There's a lot.
Yeah. It's,
Buy a
but
Sony
yeah,
camera.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I
becomes
know the camera. I know that because they use that several times.
Pringles, Enterprise, Papa
Yeah.
John's. Like those are just a few of them, but
Oh, the Pringles one was horrible.
The Pringles was stupid.
that came out of nowhere.
that's like there's a point in one of the Transformers movies where Mark Wahlberg's like, I need a Pepsi! And then he just chugs a Pepsi, and you have to watch him chug a Pepsi for like 30 seconds, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
I just saw Mark Wahlberg this week on my lot.
Nice.
They're filming Transformers 5.
I saw
Very
Nathan
exciting
Petrelli
stuff.
on my lot, and I tried real hard not to yell Petrelli at him.
I'm sure he would have loved that. Oh,
like,
yeah, that show is in like 10
I
years
can't
ago.
remember
Thanks a
your real
lot.
name.
Is there any other last thing we want to hit on this that we've not mentioned that you feel your voice was not heard?
The villain. We didn't really talk about the villain.
I care about the villain about as much as this movie did.
Okay,
Snorefest.
I have to be a total novice and say that I haven't seen the first Ghostbusters in a long time, but
Right.
there's not a villain, right?
Not
it's just
really.
like,
Well, there's Zool.
But there's no like
Yeah.
defined villain until
but there's nobody
the
like
end.
harnessing Zool to be like, or like
No, yeah.
harnessing the ghosts.
Oh,
or
and
whatever.
technically, the bad guy in the first movie is the EPA. Technically.
Yeah.
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 And the ghost haunting Sigourney Weaver.
But there's not like
Which
this
is
villain
like
running
Zool.
around.
Right.
And Zool is more of like a doomsday apocalypse
Right.
thing. It's not like a mastermind villain, which is what this was in this movie.
And
Yeah.
they really push a lot of that off till the last act.
Yeah.
And so you don't have this guy just wandering around and causing things. Like, okay, I was bullied. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And-
I also don't. I
Yeah.
don't know that actor, but I don't like him.
No, he wasn't very good.
and just the very like when he says his like he talks, and when he's talking, I'm kind of like out of the movie. I'm checked out and like I'm reading my emails and
Right.
I'm actively like disengaged from the movie. So
But he did his one great sequence is with Leslie Jones when he meets her in the subway and he's
Yeah,
like,
and I was
Yeah.
on board.
"Oh,
then
and the
rest-
workers will be the last to be sent to the slaughter. Enjoy your time.
Yeah, enjoy your extra time.
Enjoy your extra time." And she's like, "All right, weirdo." That was a good sequence.
was a good
Again, have a good script note as somebody that works in film development or TV development, is that you could have again grounded him to, hey, when he was bullied, maybe he knew the two girls when they were young and he hated the ghost aspect of it. And
well, because they made a point of like connecting them with that book for some reason.
And so I'm like,
Yeah.
why, if you're gonna like connect things and make things relevant to each other, like do it.
Yeah.
This
But,
movie says no.
Yeah.
This
Apparently.
movie says we want quibs.
I just want to talk to Katie Dipload because I have loved her other scripts a lot, and
Yeah.
this was absolute trash. So
Well, I don't. Again, I'm not sure how much I blame her, and I
Right.
blame just Paul Feig letting them riff.
Yeah.
instead
Because
of
she has to
doing
share
the
credit with him,
script.
so he
I
put
would
a
actually
significant
love
amount of work
to
on
read
it.
the script.
Yeah.
I would love to see what
might be
was
good.
in there and not in there and such.
Yeah.
I want to
That's
read
why,
her script.
You know, people harp on like real strict people like Kevin Smith, who's like, you know, he's really full of himself with the script and he makes people follow his script, but his jokes kind of land.
Yeah, it's you have to know your material.
Yeah.
Like, he knows what he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you will for his most recent films, but like back in the day, when he was a slave to the script, it worked.
Yeah.
And Paul Feig, I mean, say what you will about him, he's made very good films in the past. This one, unfortunately, isn't one of them, but he's really good about kind of knowing when to riff and when not to riff. And this one, I think it got away from him.
Even though I slammed Spy, there's still plenty of parts of Spy that I enjoyed.
I loved Spy.
Yeah, I liked Jason Statham in it. The rest of the movie didn't really work for me, but I can't deny, like, even if it doesn't work for me, I still know it's a good movie. It's just not my favorite. Wasn't my cup of tea.
I mean, I will watch a spin-off movie of just Jason Statham from that film.
I think
Again, with these male characters being the best thing in these female.
But he was.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to hit? Are we good to go into quotes?
The Andy Garcia's in this movie.
The mayor.
No.
Don't compare me to the mayor from Jaws.
Don't steal quotes,
Damn it,
John.
Ryan.
What?
Or John.
I think that now has my.
Damn it, Ryan.
I'm looking down in my lap, fiddling with my pen. What?
I love that ended the way it did.
Yeah. So I think that officially means it's time to start in a quote.
Yeah.
Hey, Chewie, what's your quote?
My favorite quote is when she's like trying to get him to be on board with what needs to happen. She's like, you don't want to be the mayor from Jaws. And he's like, don't you ever compare me to the mayor from Jaws.
Michelle, what about you? You have a favorite quote?
I have two, both involving Mr. Hemsworth, and one is about his glasses. They just keep getting dirty. I took the glass out. And when he drinks Kristen Wiig's coffee, I hate coffee. Sugar's in it. I thought were two of the more surprising moments that I was like not expecting, and I thought they were both really funny lines.
Oh man, I forgot about the coffee one. That's fucking great.
It's like not what you expect, where she's like, is sugar in it? He grabs it, drinks it. I hate coffee. Sugar's in it. It's like, that is not what you thought that
and
was
then
gonna
Kristen Wiig is just like,
I'll take it.
I'll take
yeah.
it.
Ryan, what about you? You got a quote?
Yeah, I have a couple. I'm gonna actually go with a Jillian quote. What year is it? How long have we been gone? It's 2040. Our president is a plant. No, just kidding. We've been gone like 5 seconds.
I also have a Kate McKinnon quote. Mine comes from the end action sequence when they're yelling about getting Kevin back. Like, you can't hurt Kevin! And then Kate McKinnon chimes in, he just started figuring out the phones!
She's so good.
Also a Holtzman one in the at the show, at the concert under the basement with the hat. The scene itself is just like, it's the hat. What? Is it the hat? And it's just that moment because her face, first of all, and just her physicality delivers it.
Right.
I did really like, which I can only assume was an improv quote, when Leslie Jones is walking around in that same basement and sees the room full of mannequins and just goes, room full of nightmares, and then walks away. I felt for her. And
No one likes a room full of mannequins.
No.
I mean, it's such a great moment of, that's what would really happen.
Yeah. That is a room full of nightmares. It's like clowns in the forest. Don't go to there.
I actually have to live that. When I go to our storage facility in North Hollywood, we got our entire section of mannequins, and I don't like walking by it.
Okay, so it's going to be time for a review system. This week might be difficult. I hope it's not. Female-led comedies. I'm going to go with Easy A.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Because I'm not a big fan of Easy A. I think there's a lot in there that really worked and was a really good idea, but ultimately for me just kind of rang false and kind of awkward in a lot of parts, much like this movie where a lot of it worked, there's a lot of good ideas, but ultimately it just kind of fell apart in the wrong moments.
Mm-hmm.
And the best characters were male, just like the dad in Easy A is fucking fantastic.
I'm going to give a really off-the-wall one that is also a movie I saw this year that I was very surprised to laugh my ass off during, and has great female characters, whether you like the movie or not, and it's called How to Be Single.
Never saw it.
I actually very much enjoyed that film, and I thought it was really fucking funny. But
who's the girl in that one again?
It's Dakota Johnson, who, when you forget about 50 Shades of Grey, you realize she's Melanie Griffith's daughter, and it really works.
Oh, okay.
And Rebel Wilson.
That's the one I was
in
thinking
it.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
God,
Dakota Johnson just really signed up for a great paycheck for like 4 movies.
I mean, in all honesty, she was really great on that TV show Ben and Kate as well. And I think she is, when you really just let go of your trepidations towards 50 Shades of Grey, she kind of holds it together in being like, why am I here?
Yeah.
And you can tell, and it's kind of funny, where she like really much questions why the fuck am I in this movie? And you kind of relate to her. But anyways, I like her a lot. I think she's really funny.
I have no problem with her. I'm never going to see the Grey movies.
No.
Just no interest.
No.
Although I've been told they're not as bad as you think they are, but that's not enough to get me to see a movie.
Yeah, people said that about Trump.
Trump
train.
I almost forgot.
Oh, chew.
I almost had an hour forgetting that Donald Trump was our president. But I'm gonna go with Jennifer's Body. It's just like
Jennifer's Body.
Oh, I am going to be your best friend.
and it was creepy and it involved ghosts.
That is a great. If I was in film school, when I was in film school, my thesis paper was a Mean Girls Heathers comparison paper.
Okay.
Perfect.
That Mean Girls is basically the post-Columbine version of Heathers.
Yep,
where,
that works.
Yeah,
for sure.
and Jennifer's Body is a favorite of mine, and I can't believe I didn't think about it because I watched it last weekend. But it is definitely a great film to analyze and think about a complicated female friendship hidden in a horror comedy.
Yeah.
I bought that movie on DVD and everyone made fun of me. I'm like, no, it's fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
People need to realize.
So I'm going to do Drop Dead Gorgeous with Kristen Dunst.
Okay.
It's inconsistently paced and inconsistently funny, and but it has some genuine moments where I genuinely found funny and joy in it.
Cool. Last but not least.
I'll go with Pitch Perfect.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yep.
Still haven't seen it.
It's not my favorite female movie. It's got a lot of great parts. Does have some musical acts.
That's okay. It's a musical.
And it's about a group of women that fight kind of another group of, well, no, they fight a group of men
Yeah.
to be number one. And the odds are stacked up against them.
There's
in
a
the
civil
end.
war within
Yeah.
the group, though.
There is. No, good, totally.
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect is not perfect. There's a lot of cattiness. And there's a lot of, it's about love in that movie. But in the end, it was just really fun to see those women work together. They had some great gross out moments and some great visual gags and physical comedy that really makes the film worth it.
Cool. That works. Okay, so that's it for Ghostbusters 2016. I'm sure a lot of people around the table are excited to never watch it again.
Can't wait for the sequel.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, if they make it, I'll see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I will definitely see it, and hopefully they will fix some of the problems.
Yeah, hopefully they iron out these kinks and it works,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
And Leslie Jones gets offered a shit ton of dresses to wear to the premiere and not has to like bitch at people on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll see. So next week coming up, we have, actually I don't know which one's coming out first. We're recording 2 next week, so we're gonna have one and then the other coming out on Thanksgiving. But they are Warcraft and the Neon Demon. I'll decide after we record them which one comes out first. But I'm very excited for both of them, which I've heard the same review for both, which will be interesting. They're very pretty, fucking terrible.
I can let you guys know that when we're recording the one for Warcraft, I'm going to make sure to wear the most amount of shoulder pads I possibly can.
Aren't we
Just
all?
these huge foam shoulder pads.
Warcraft!
And nothing else.
That just made me think of Working Girl.
I mean, if you put Working Girl in Warcraft, it might work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it would. Yeah.
I see a crossover potential. Let's call the studios.
Okay, so a final round of plugs and we'll say goodbye. You can find us on Facebook at After the Hype. You can find us on Twitter, ATH_podcast. Everywhere else online, ATH Podcast. Email us at athpodcast@gmail.com and visit our website, athpod.com. Don't do it right now. It's just a little picture of John working on the internet. And Michelle, where can people find you online and what should they be watching again?
At Oh My God, Plastic Menus. OMG, Plastic Menus. And you should be watching Drunk History.
You really should. It's
Yeah.
very funny.
It's
That's
great.
what-
It's great. It's a great show. Really educational, and it really takes the light of this heavy political season and makes light of it. So we really enjoy working on that.
Can we give little things about the show that didn't air? The one thing that I was sad about in our Titanic episode is that we had 2 characters dressed up as Jack and Kate from the Titanic movie. And they kept trying to shoot at them, but then I didn't see them in the final cut.
Yeah, that was a whirlwind day where we had like especially with the lighting, that they never really made it into a scene that was usable.
Oh.
So it had nothing to do with us being like, they don't really work. It was just like, oh, we can't see them at all.
Damn.
It wasn't very apparent. So,
Oh, well.
yeah.
It was funny when we were shooting it.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you again very much for everyone for listening. Rate and review us on iTunes. Thank you very much, Michelle, for coming out this week.
Of course.
And bye!
Bye.
Bye.